So, while reviewing C++, I am also introducing Java for you. Hmm? So, can you see my screen, guys? Makita rin ninyo? Okay. Okay. Okay, very good. So, kindly mute your mic for those na naka-open. This is now review number 2, C++ and Java language. Syntax. Okay? So, we will familiar the syntax of the two languages. Okay, but first, okay, C++ language. Oh, okay. What is C++ language? You already know this one? Or let me review it to you. C++ is a popular programming language. So, every programmer knows C++. Okay, it's from the C language. So, tanang programmer right now, murag familiar with C++. You cannot make a programmer if you don't know the syntax of C++ because it's very popular. Okay, it's C++ is used to create and computer programs. Yes, here to our task here is to learn and create computer programs. Okay, then Java language. Java language, Java is a programming language also. Java is used to develop mobile apps, web application, desktop application, games, and much more. Now, why there are many languages? Have you ever asked yourselves, nganong kadaghang programming language? Nganong naay Java, naay C++, naay C, naay HTML, naay CSS, naay JSON. There are many programming. If I am an IT student, do I need to learn all the programming languages? Okay mo siyang if you research programming languages, I think they have thousands more of languages. Do I really need to memorize and learn those languages? Unsa man? For you? Ah, mm, as asa ka na komportable. Okay, let us think this way. All of your question answer is correct. But let us think this way. How many platforms are we right now? Platforms, meaning in today's technology, platforms. Kung wala mo kabalo og platforms, okay, e-commerce, that ay platforms like e-commerce. So in technology, we have three platforms to consider. Those okay or our gadgets na lang, okay, para dali ma-explain. Atong mga gadgets, dagantang mga gadgets, right? Natay cellphone, natay laptop, natay okay, that's also laptop computers. Those are mga gadgets needed for working computer-related applications. Now, platforms, man ito gitawag platforms. Unsa nga klase na device atong gipanggamit? Like we are using desktop computers, laptop computers. Are we using tablets, cell phones, or nanagitay smartwatch right now? Nanatanan daghan na. So, every platforms there is a needed programming language you are going to use. Tanang platforms. Tungod sa kadaghang platforms, daghan po siyang programming language. Parang nakadaghan po ang programming language. It is because the platforms right now are also improving. Sa una, it is just a computer, a desktop computer, di ba? So sa unang mga panahon, jutay ra pod ang languages. Muna mga C++, C, those are mga karaang mga languages, Tubol, Pascal, those are the languages because that languages helps to support the application of that desktop computer, no? So if you want desktop computers like naman tay mga application sa desktop, like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excels, 'di ba? Um, sa una natay mga browsers, naanay pagamaan ng mga aplikasyon na those applications, it's created by a programming language. So, kung mayroon kang desktop application ang imuhang platform na gimaster, kung desktop application imuhang programming na gimaster, so meaning you just study those programming languages that really create that application. So ganahan ba ka og magamag application na ma-visit lang sa desktop or sa laptop, pwede na siya. You can actually learn Java, C++, C, Visual Basic. Those are what you call GUI applications. So mo yung mga applications na og ikaw estudyante, you just learn only one language for that, for you to really create an application. Now the problem sa desktop application, nanabot tayo, we call it tulo ka operating systems. Sa desktop, no? Why? Because naatay Windows, katong mga Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and right now we have Windows 10. Naapo na siya intended programming language to create application. Dira nato, 'di ba? Ug ato po tayo sa Apple natay mga Leopard, Panther, iPad, ano ilang mga OS nila dito na I am not familiar with because I am a Windows application user. So, naaslay na dito. Naapod siya application na operating system na ilahang gina create o gi-create na siya into a certain programming language. Ug naapod tay Linux, a pre-operating system. Naapod tay mga programming languages na gigamit to develop that operating system. So the programming languages varies in what operating system you are going to use. Pero ang nakanindot, C++ and Java are good, suitable for those three operating system. That is why if we want that we will create a program in three operating system. Maka-create tag program sa Windows, maka-create tag program sa Mac, maka-create tag program sa Linux. So Java and C++ are good programming language to learn. It is because all operating systems are covered. Dili ra ta mo learn into a programming language which only limited into a particular operating system. May tabo, mas stuck up ka. What if that operating system will phase out? Imong knowledge in programming will also phase out. Nasabtan ninyo? So mo nang daghantang programming language. Sa desktop pa na siya. How about mobile devices like tablets? So naatay tablets, naatay cellphone, and those devices are varies with different sizes. And the problem for that previously is what we call the scalability and responsiveness of the application. Lain-lain biyag device. Kanang mo-open kag application na Facebook, na kay cellphone diya na 6 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches, na 7 whatsoever inches na available in the market. Kinahanglan scalability and responsiveness. Muna ay mo ang i-cater as a programmer. So na po tayong mga programming language na cater for ana. Sa right now in mobile devices like Android because Android naman jud kasagaran ron og Apple, no. Both of those applications na kanang inyo ang gipanggamit ron like Google Meet are done by Java language. Si Java jud manang powerful gid ang Java right now. So that is why we have to learn programming. Why we have to escape with C++? It is because C++ right now is beyond with Java in terms with cross-platform compatibility. Both iOS and tanang Android apps ninyo dira are created by Java language. Manay paka-powerful ni Java. That's why we are going to migrate Java. Nakuha ninyo? My short definition of the two languages. Yes. And right now, natay mga mobile web. Yes, thank you. Natay mga web applications. Natay web applications through browser. So, muna yung gigamit natin yung mga languages like PHP, HTML, CSS, databases. Those are we have to really master. So, now it's really thinking how as a student, an IT student, asa man jud ko mo lugar. Kadaghan naman na yung program na i-cater. Asa man ko I need to where I fit. Ay asa ko dapitan na language to learn. Especially man good in our curriculum in Norsubais, especially in Norsu, we are an IT graduate with no specialization. No, wala tay. So we have to really learn everything under the IT world, programming languages. So that is why we are forcing you to study Java. It is because that is the most common languages that popular to write today. Like dili ta pare sa ubang schools like AMA Manila, STI Manila. They have curriculum like information technology major in animation, computer technology major in web-based development, computer information technology major in CAD architecture. Those are the major sila. First year o second year, general tanan ang approach. Pag abot og third year, natay major um, as an IT. Because IT is very broad. Pero tindaku ang kursuha. Because you are not really di maka IT kung programmer ka, no, because probably if you're an IT and you're good in animation, you're good in making graphics, IT man Japan na siya. Usually man good here, but most commonly IT can create program because mo na siya basic understanding create program but natay major. Okay, nakuha ninyo because manang for me for me, I cannot pursue you na create you just learn a program because you are an IT, no. But since this curriculum is just a general one, I want you to learn really what is programming because time to in the basic og ato ka sa web programming man siya. We call it desktop programming man gyapon siya. 'Di ba? Then we have mobile programming or Android development, programming man siya. Daghan man ang padulong sa programming. Jutay ra man tong animation, graphics, 'di ba? Jutay ra to sila. That really not into graphics, into kuan. Naapotay game development is also programming and a combine of graphics and programming. So, ikaw asa mo dapita? Sad to say lang yun, we are general as an IT. Sa uban ay major yun siya. In myself, I am an IT. My arsenal siguro is my we call it my forte is web development. I write apps using web through web, no? So my forte that one. So my language I learned like PHP, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, MySQL. Those are languages that I am into. So, muna yung mga languages. Pero I can also learn, I write codes in Java, C++, muna yung mga minor na ako na forte. Because programming man Japan ng web programming. Nasabtan ninyo ako ang gimin na dagang kayong languages na we have to cater but we just suit into what we are really needed to right now since we are not on major we don't have specialization in IT, so we just go great we will just move into Java language because Java is what we call common and what more usable right now. Okay, so let's proceed. Nakuha ra ninyo ako ang iaging ipasabot. Okay, sige, thank you. So okay, thank you. So what is C++? So I just summarize everything, but this is just intended for you guys. Okay, C++ is a cross. Okay, if you have a problem in connection, I have already recorded it this one. So probably you can watch it later na lang pod for you to understand well. Muna ako ang purpose pod to record. Okay? So C++ is a cross-platform language that can be used to create high-performance applications. C++ was developed by Bajarn Strauss as the extension of the C language. So base yun niya ang C language. So C++ gives programmer high-level control over system resource and memory. So the language was updated three major times in 2011, 2014, and 2017. So the version of C++ right now is C++ 14 ang atuang gigamit magamit. Ang C++17 murag wala pa tay compiler ana. Okay, so that is what is C++. And here what is Java? Java is a popular programming language created in 1995. It is owned by Oracle and more than 3 billion devices in run Java. As you can see, 3 billion devices. So daghan kay siya. Oh, so munang why kinahanglan kitang mo learn og Java para ra gid ta makasabot sa tanang mga devices. Okay, let me wait sa kay. It will be recorded right now. I'm still recording. Or after our atong discussion right now, ako na i-upload. So makita na siya sa ako ang channel. Pero ako ra na i-post every videos sa to ang group sa Facebook. Parang dili rayagaw. Okay? So Java, it is used for mobile application, especially Androids. It's very useful because every one of us has an Android. So we will learn how to create an Android apps. Mogamit data kabalon saan pagama, no? Desktop applications, web servers and application servers, games, database connection, and much, much more. So that is why advantageous kay ang Java to learn. Okay? As a beginner. So why use C++? C++ is the one of the world's most popular programming languages. C++ can be found in today's operating systems, graphical user interfaces, and embedded systems. C++ is an object-oriented programming language which gives a clear structure to programs and allows codes to reuse, lowering development costs. Okay, C++ is portable, it can be used to develop applications that can be adapted to multiple platforms. That is why I am talking kaniya tong multiple operating systems. C++ can fun and easy to learn. Okay. So as C++ is close to C Sharp and Java, it makes it easy for programmers to switch C++ to vice versa. So, doon ang dili na ako maglisod ninyo guys to teach Java because you have already familiar with C++ and Java and C++ is moras lang managtagsa o marag managsuon because those patterns Java and C++ nagika na siya sa C language. Ang Java ug C++, ang ilang gigikanan is C language. So muna makita ninyo, ang ilang coding and way of syntax are similar. More gamay lang ang diferensya. So ato na nang malantaw karon later. Next is why use Java? Java works on different platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry, okay, and etc. It's one of the most popular programming language in the world. It is easy to learn and simple to use. It is open source and free. So free siya, no need to there are some programming languages na to learn na imubayad pa ka, kani free na. It is secure and fast and powerful. It has huge community support. Okay, we have 10 millions of developers. That is why I also love Java. It is because when you have a problem like writing codes, there are many developers to go with. You go with Stack Overflow. There are many problems there to see. Imagine because you are not the first programmer in this world that encounter that problem. Probably there are more or few of the of programmers that encounter with that problem that's similar to your problem. You research it in Google and you can see that the solution. May nakanindot if you have a good community. So ano nakanindot. Kay inyo mga may tabo, ug na may problema, automatic ra mong sige ra mo og atubangan sa inyo ang inyong laptop or cellphone, but you try to research what are the problems. Makita na ninyo. Okay, Java is an object-oriented language which gives a clear structure programs that allow codes to reuse, lowering development costs. So, mamaorag yun silang duha, Java. Java is a close to C++ and C Sharp. It makes it easy for programmers to switch to Java or vice versa. So, similar lang gid sila. So, dili lisod ang pagkatunog Java. Ato na lang paningkamutan. O akong paningkamutan to explain to you in much more easiest way for you to understand. Okay, next. Real world applications. Muna siya. Games, GUI-based application, desktop, database, operating systems, browser, advanced communication and graphics, banking applications, cloud distributed system, compilers, embedded systems, enterprise software, libraries. So, muna yung mga actual applications in C++. Dili ra pod sila naglagyo ni Java. Desktop GUI application, mara na siya. Mobile applications, enterprise applications, scientific applications, web-based applications, embedded systems, big data technologies, distributed applications, cloud-based applications, web servers and application servers, software tools, gaming applications. So makita ninyo ang difference, both of them. Naas lay similarity. Ang nakanindot rin ni Java na siya mobile application, which is wala jud siya ni C++. And nowadays, right now, if you cannot create a program in mobile, murag ulahi na kayo ka, because the demand right now is on mobile. Usually all of the people have cell phone, pero not all the people have laptops and computers. So if you are a programmer, aspiring programmer, want to create programs, then go to mobile applications. Why? Dito ang daghang kwarta. Because all of the people are using cell phone. And most of the Philippines, 90% of the Philippines are using Android. Or the entire world siguro 80% are using Android. So nindot gid siya na uh, we call it preference to learn Java for you. Okay? Any questions? Nasabtan ninyo? Okay, nasabtan na ninyo na why we need to learn Java. Okay. So, if nasabtan na, okay, then we will proceed. Okay, so we're getting started. How sa ta magsugod? Okay, to start coding, you need to two things. First, what? The compilers or the interpreters. Okay? So, why we have interpreters? Now, every programming languages has interpreters or compilers. Like C++, C programming languages like C, C++, C Sharp, naatay gitawag og compiler na GCC. Okay, GCC 6.3 for C++, C, C Sharp, and C++. And naatay 6.3 for C++, 14. So, compiler, unsa di gamit ni compiler? Kasi Java po na siya GDK, Java Development Kit 8, din natay PHP 7.1.0 that are the compilers and interpreters. Unsa man jud siya? Unsa yung gamit into us? Okay? I know it already discussed it to your class factors previously semester, pero ato nang elaborate ron. Compilers also use what we call the IPO input process output model. So, as a compiler, so you have the source code, your codes, it will compile, it process, and it output. Di ba? Mo na usually. Magmatag program, nag-input ta, nag-type ta, we encode it, then after that, we build or we run, then now the compiler process it, and it outputs something in your program. Remember that the language computer is binary, 10101010. 'Di ba? Si 10101010. It groups into bits and it groups into bytes. So dili ikaw tawhana ka, magama kag program 1010 murag mahubog ka. That is why we have programming language. Programming language, it created programming language for us human to give instructions to the computer. Slave man nato ang computer. We write codes, piece of codes that the computer will understand. Now, compiler is actually an interpreter. It compiles and interpret your language, your high-level language, into a low-level language. When we say low-level language, this is binary. 101010 that only computers understand. And the Java language or C++ language, which is the high-level language that us human can understand. Now, the compiler interpreter is the what we call the medium, which is nasa tunga, that interprets our language to their language, to the computer's language. Munang si pag naka-instruction, natay source code, i-compile na niya, maadto siya na ni sa computer, iyan na i-convert og 10101010. So, nakasabot si computer na mo din ni 10101010, iyara pong ipa-execute og i-output. So, nakuha ninyo. Without compiler, our computer or language will not work. Because, okay, because we cannot create a program dili ta parehas. Pero og sa una pa ta mga programmer like nilang mga earlier programmer. Murag sila may makaingon jud ko. Sila may mga idol na ako. Why? Because they program the they give instruction to the computer based of 101010 binary language. Yung isang mga genius ito mga programmer. Right now, programming is not really difficult because it gives us more freedom. Na naman tayo compiler. Ang ato na lang is to learn what is the language, that language capable of. We familiarize that language. We learn to write on it. So no need to really understand the computer's language, which is the binary. So manang mga programmer right now, dili gid siya pareha sa programmer sa una. Programmer right now, it's awesome. Pero katong mga programmer sa una, which is what we call it, the magicians of today's era. Ano ba? 1010, on and off. But they can program it using on and off sequence. No, lilipresan nga tuwa na stdio.h, include stdio.h, cout, colon. Wala na sila na dito. 101010 na dito. Ilang utok. They are really a wizard in programming. So kita ron, we are really just lucky enough to have a language like C++ and Java because it's very easy to code. Okay? So why we need so we have to first think if you use Java, please download GDK, Java Development Kit for you to use Java. If you use C++, you download GCC 6.3 compiler for you to use. And we have PHP. If naka PHP, use 7 that download that one. For naiuban that apil na sa ilahang we call it apil na sa pag-download sa iyahang IDE. Okay, so since na namo okay na ta, nakabalo na ta na the first thing you have to consider is to download or to have um, the compiler. The second one, next thing to do is where we write our program. So where we write our program. Especially, for example, no, how can we greet our friend or our classmates in your classmate? How can you greet good morning? Di ba we have a lot of platforms or choices to write with. You can use SMS, you can call, you can video chat. Those are the things that you can greet a friend, right? So inana siya. So in programming, when you create a program, there are many ways where to write a program. Like creating as assignment, where to write a piece of paper or yellow pad. It's the same. So the second choice if you're going to write a program is the environment where you write your program. You choose that one. Writing a program is just greeting a friend. It's up to you what platform that you are going to use. You can send SMS, you can call, video call. At the end of the day, the context is to create a friend. Di naman siya ma-matter, gitawagan ko niya, giteksan ko niya, gi-video chat ko niya. At the end of the day, mingon ng imong friend na, ni greet siya na ako. Diba? Ni greet siya happy birthday for me. Di na siya mingon na happy kay ko kay ni gamit siya text. Ay happy ko kay ni call siya. Ay happy ko kay ni video chat siya. Di ba dili na siya mo matter? Ang mo matter is how you greet a friend. The same thing with you when you're creating a program. When creating a program, is no need where you are going to write it as long as the program will work. Di ba? Nasabtan ninyo. Ano miingon siya na, ako manggod, gagamit man ko og Sublime, gagamit ko Notepad++, gagamit ko og ano sa man, Code Blocks, gagamit ko og Android Android, ato? Katong sa inyong cellphone, C++ Droid. Everything is just an environment. Ang importante makagama mo og program. That is very important. It's up to you what is your choice. Especially for you guys, you are or not all of you has a computer or a cell phone, a laptop. So what all we need to do is to use those application like C++ Droid, Java Droid, is batong uban. What are those applications that can code a language? Bahala na mo dira, no? It's up to you. Importante, we will learn how to create a program. Muna yung pinaka-importante. Especially in these days na we don't have laboratories to use. Okay? So, like writing a program, Notepad++, Code Blocks, Eclipse, or NetBeans. This is the choices we have if you write C++ or Java. So, natay duwa ka consider in actual development. Mag-IDE ba ka or mag text editor? Actual development, especially in making a program gyud in a computer, kinahanglan gyud siya og kung makagama ka program sa computer, kinahanglan mogamit jud kag computer. Kanang mogamit kag cellphone, just only familiarizing and practicing it. Kanang mga C++ Droid, Java Droid, o sa pa ng mga applications dira that you have used, naara gyud siya limitation. Kutob ra siya sa mga basic programming constructs in programming. Di na siya itong mga pinaka daghan na gyud. Pinaka nice o pinaka we call it necessary needed katong mga GUI, mga mga database connections, di na to siya di na siya makater sa inyong cellphone. So in order to create applications, you have to use computer. So sa computer mo yun ay recommended. For right now, wala mo tayong mga laptop, okay ra na siya because we are just familiarizing it. Di siya totoo mga lesson jud kayo. So no, naatay consider na things. We have text editor and Notepad++. Text editor is just a text editor like Notepad or Notepad++. You can just type the code. You were just type on the code and then manually compile it and manually run it. Mas lisod siya, mas messy siya. So mas lisod gani siya. So way back then sa mua na time, I tried to compile it with my own by the use of command prompt. So right now we have available IDEs like sa inyo ha, kana inyong cellphone, idikta malaman yung click run, 'di ba? It is an example of an IDE, integrated development environment. Now where in that environment you can write codes and also you can compile or run your program. Hindi na ka maglisod as a programmer, asa ka patubang just to run your program. Sa una, we go to command prompt and javadoc mamili to target the file and to run it. Dili na siya mas messy kung gamit ka compiler. Like sa una, you have used code blocks for your C++ and the things that we need for Java, it's either Eclipse or NetBeans. Okay? So, Nana, so we already know that Naanatay, naanatay language, the compiler that we're going to use, deselect, natay language na select C++ ug Java, so we have to download GDK and CGNU compiler. Pero good thing for that, if you use IDE like Codeblocks and Eclipse, automatically you already included the download for the compiler. May nakanindot nila. So no need for daghang kuskus bulongos. Okay, so you have already now the IDE included with the compiler. So we will now go to the syntax. Okay? Any questions so far? Paspas lang ba kayo ko? Nasabtan ra ba? Okay, we will just reviewing it ramang pod, di ba? And additional knowledge katong mga knowledge ninyong murag na hanap na kuha na hanap-hanap gamay. Nabasa-basa. Kamantay man ng na kan mo inyong information mura og kanabang na anyong notebook nabasa og papel, nabasa og tubig. So what happened, blurry siya gamay. So atong gibuhaton is we have to make it atong isulatan gamay just to clear it out parang masabtan gamay ninyo. Okay, masabtan na pug usob ang inyong nasabtan before. Okay, so we will now go to the syntax, C++ and Java syntax. So we will now discuss. First thing, no, in creating a C++ program in your code blocks, this is the default program, no? Natay nani, default na siya na code. Okay? Natay line. Okay, sa environment, guys, good good thing sa environment is um familiar with the environment and natay line numbers here, and we have also the color arrangement and the indentation to make it much more nicer to code. Okay? Now, let me discuss first from 1 to 10 what are these codes para ma-familiar ninyo. Okay? So the line number 1, this is hashtag include Iostream. Okay, this is okay, include every program, especially um especially in call it uh, library base, like we have to include something. Um, for this program, we need because we have to output something. It's output hello world. So nakabalo na siya daan na you have to output hello world. So we need a library to help us output the data. So nang include, palihog lang kog mute for those kisay late na ni abot. Palihog lang kog mute not to disturb us. So include, that means you are including something, including a library. And a library is Iostream. It is input output stream. So this is good library because in our program, basically we input and we output. Basic yun siya, there is an input output stream. Without that include input output stream, if you don't include that one, you cannot use the cout command. You cannot use the cout command. It is because cout command is under the input output stream. So ganahan kang ma-output something, you include with the input output stream. Okay? Using namespace std. Line number 2. Sir, number 2 is blank. Line number 3 is using namespace std. Okay. All in all, kani siya, it's either 2 or 3. It depends on us. Kita ra magud ani mi nagbuot, kita ra nag-place ani. In ang computer, wala na siya gakitaan na og unsa na siya, na ba na siya spacing, na ba na siya indentation. It's just only wala guna siya white space nila. Okay? So, wala na siya yung white space. So, for us, natay line number 3, natay sa space. This is line. So, kani siya, using namespace STD, which is STD is a standard algorithm or coding. Meaning, you are setting that all your program, coding syntax of your program is standard. Set gina siya. Naka-default na siya. Na using namespace STD. Standard ang tawag na. So, standard coding ang imuha. So, that is why, when you miss something like semicolon, or braces, it will check error because you are using standard coding. 'Di ba? So, wala na siya yung mga wrong syntax, kulang ang mga ginagmay, it will error because of the STD, using namespace STD. Okay, so una nakita na to, na yung number 1 is including the library input output stream. 3 is using namespace STD. So kanas lang duwa na sa pinakataas because before we load the program, kinanglan nakaset na lang duwa tanan. Okay, line number 5 and line number 6. This is what we call function. Function. In computer program, function is a set of codes that it will run if that function is called. Gitawag siya. Mura na siya tao. Kung tawagon ka, for example, Oy, Benhart, palihog ko og kuha og tubig. Okay? Di, do you know that you are capable of creating water? So you will perform. You will perform and it will run. In a computer, if that function really do specific things, if imo siyang i-call, imo siyang tawagon, it will run. It will work. Okay, so a function. So, computer programs can have one or more functions. In a basic computer program like this, there is a specific, there is a one function here. Okay, this function is what we call main. Now, this main function is very special because without calling it, lang tawon nimo wala gud siya gi-call dira, but it's automatically run. Because the compiler detects that there is a main function, that's automatically it will call, it will run. Because nagit-call naman siya dayan sa compiler because this is the main function. If there is a main function in C++, it's automatically, it will load, it will call, it will run. So everything inside the left and the right braces will execute, it will perform. Pagtawag nimo ni main, everything in here from left to right will execute. So kaning left braces and right braces is what we call, inside of that is the function body. Bisag unsay maibutang dira, it will calculate inside left brace and right brace. We called it left brace and braces because you are setting the boundaries that this left brace and right brace, only the main function will nakatag-iya na. Mura na siya imong balay. Nakani si main may imong balay. And then, ang left brace ug right brace are mga alad. And everything inside of your left brace and brace are everything, ang owner ani is si main. Get it? So, tanan-tanan, ani sulod aning left brace are si main. So, munang tawagon nimo si main, everything will execute. Okay? Now, in creating functions, we have two things to consider. First is the data type and the name. Okay? Gitudluan mo before that there are, we call it reserved names. We call reserved names, those are reserved names that you don't need to use because nagamit na siya. Like kanang main, kanang using, int, return, you cannot use that name already because it is already been used. We call it reserved names. So every programming languages, you have to check what are the reserved names on that programming languages. If there is a name reserved on that programming languages, never use that one because it will make an error after. 'Di ba? So you can name it whatever you want as long as ayaw tong sa reserved names. So here, we have a data type and the name. Ang name is followed by open close parenthesis. So muna na siya. So then this int, why we have return 0, because every functions that has a data type like string, char, boolean, double, those are data types. If you put here whatever data type, it returns, for example, a type of data that intended for the data type. So since C++, the main function always integer, you have to return it with 0. Because if you don't return it, it will have an error. Why 0? Just to supply the argument para ra gyud ba? Mura ra ba na yung, ay, mo-attend kog meeting ni Sir Bernard because mag-meeting siya online para maka-attendance ko. 'Di ba? So mura po ni siya diri pasabot aning return 0. Kaning return 0 diri, it's not really pwede siya return 1, return 2, return 3, return 4, return 5. Why mga numbers? Because it is integer. Balag butang nimo nag unsa ng return na number dira, it will not really matter in the program. Why ang importante maka-return kag integer because it is intended for data type int on line number 5. Wala naman na siya og obligation. It's really, ang ni-output ani na program is line number 7, which is cout hello world. Mo na siya output of the program. So nakuha ninyo. So kaning return 0 diri is just only we call it a requirements. It is because nag-return 0 ko diri kay naay int. Pwede ra kog mag-return 1 diri. Di japon na it will affect the program. Ang importante mo return kag integer. Any question? Nasabtan lang. Okay, thank you. So, that is okay. So, umungutana nganong 0 aw pwede rag bisag unsang number basta kay integer. You get it? Kay pohon na type mga processes or calculations na kani siya mausob na ni siya pohon. Pero later on lang. For right now, it is just okay to have 0. Okay, so that is the syntax for C++. Now, we have here the syntax for Java. It's also the same um, in Java. Okay, sa Java, it starts with the public class, learn the syntax. Okay, so it is start with the class because it is purely object-oriented approach si Java. So, Java language is purely object-oriented approach. Si C++, dili siya purely object-oriented. It is your choice to go, it is your choice to go OOP approach. Si Java is a must. Si C++ is an option. For both of them are object-oriented programming language, OOP. Both of them are OOP. Ang usa lang, si Java, it is a must to create an object, to create a class. Si C++ is just an option if you go directly to OOP because naamang good tayo procedural programming. What you've learned before is what we call procedural programming or functional programming, which is no need for you to go to OOP. Si Java, Jod, manang dili siya itudlo in programming 1, programming 2. It is because it's purely intended for OOP approach. O dito rin sa OOP na klase. Motong diri nato sa tong object oriented programming 1. Nato siya i-teach ang Java. Nakuha ninyo ang concept. So si Java, it is intended, it's a must to create a class. Si C++ dili siya intended. Pwede siya, optional siya. So, dire, to start with, ay sa ninyong libugan it is a defined, if you're creating a class in Java, I will just teach you later on. Public class learn syntax. So, learn the syntax. So, every class there is a name. This is what we call the default one. So, public class learn syntax. Because this one is what we call access modifier, class declaration, and the class name. Tulo na siya ka things to remember. So please na lang take note that this is what we call access modifier, class declaration, and class name. Now, sa class name, mo ni siya ato ang buhaton, the whatever your file name is your class name. Mura na siya. And every class name starts with capital letters. One word, mura na siya. You can name it whatever you want. So the class name. Class, it will not change. Always class talaga na siya because that is a class declaration. You are telling the compiler that you are creating a class and that class name learn that syntax. Okay. Public, we call it access modifier. Access modifier is what we call the level of access to your class. Sa object-oriented programming world, first thing to consider is security. All your data must not be, not all of your data must be, we call it, accessible to any programmers. Especially, for example, in a banking system. Ang program sa banking system, kung mabasa na siya, for example, ma-hack, something, ma-open nila ang ilang firewall, then, magama kayo ito, makita rin, mo ni codes niya dito, mo ni mga data sa bank. So, magama ako dito ako ang kaugalingong account sa bangko, din akong i-manipulate, mo ni kung kwartahan na ka. 'Di ba? Putangan nimo ito kus kamilyo ning imuhang account dito, na nakay account, yung pwede na ka maka-withdraw, kwartahan na ka. So, to lesser that possible scenario, Java or object-oriented programming has we called access modifier. Not all the programmers can access your file. Natay duha tulo ka state. Public, private, protected. Public, private, protected. When we say public, public class, it is a public. Everyone can access. So, if your class, your system, or a program is not really into security purposes, it's just only for beginners like you guys learning programming languages, public sana siya. Public state lang na siya. Meaning, everyone can access, everyone can see, because public. Natay private and protected. One good example for that is matutag CR. Matutag, kasi may nakanig baes. No, nakani mo magbaes similar. No, matutag mo mag-date mo sa plaza, siguro na may mga crush or ayo ang mga inyong mga classmate kuyog-kuyog mo. Nato mo sa plaza, kayon mo, kung you can feel discomfort, kayon mo. Then you have public CR like sa let the mind speak. Ano? So, anyone can use with that CR. That is public CR. No? Public CR na siya. That everyone can access for the private CR. The same with the public class. It is a public, every programmers can access this class. It is because it is public. Now, if you change it to private, ma-change na ang scenario. Not all can access the private. But there is a potential that if katong usa na imong ipasudlon, makasulod. For example, you go to the CR of your friend, ato kasi imong balay sa inyong friend or classmate. So ilang balay na CR. Dili tanan tao makaadto silang balay ug dili po lang tao makaadto siyang CR because that is what called private CR. It is intended for them, for their use. Pero since friend man mo, you have the trust and confidence of your friend, since amiga mo na siya confident mo, he or she let you use the CR with her permission in what we call private. Maka-access ka but you have permission. Alay sa si public. Okay? Nakuha ninyo. Then naaapod tayo, we call it protected. Kana siya may pinaka lisod. Kaya nga no, na kay CR pero lock. It's either it is public or private pero lock. And only one that has a lock, the key onto that one can only access it. You get the idea of the access modifier basing off the logic of the CR. So that's it. Nakuha ninyo? So, muna yung nakagood sa object-oriented programming. Security purposes. It's better to use object-oriented programming. So, there are three states. Public for access modifier. Three states. Public, private, and protected. Any questions for the three states? Asabtan lang. Okay. Thank you. So, every file, every class, nantawan ninyo na left brace and right brace because inside of that one is what we call class body. And the class body, everything there is owned by the class. So meaning if that class is public, everything inside of that class will be accessible. Pero i-private nimo, it's only the person the imuang permit to go there, we all will be can see the codes. Pero mayroon kang protected, only you, only in this class can access the codes. Only you. It is being protected. May gigamit sa mga bangko. Wanang secured case sila. 'Di ba? Imagine na mahak ng bangko, lugi dayon sila. Kwarta ba na? Security is the purpose of really in banking system. Security gid siya. So that's why they use programming languages like Java and C++ because they are using object-oriented uh, paradigm. Now, inside of the left brace of the right brace of the class, they have here now the function. You can have a lot of functions of it. The same ra Japon sa imuang C++ na asay function. Main function. Og diri pod si main function. Okay? Now, lahi lang siya porma, no? Murag complicated gamay. Ari diri siya murag, okay, simple ra kay si C++, iya. Abot ni Java murag something which is weird, something murag naalang. Pero ato ra na i-discuss piece by piece. Okay, in creating a function in Java, we have to consider the access modifier again. Magbalik-balik ra gina siya. Public, static, public, private, protected. Okay? Dayon, we have here kaning static, it is a special access modifier. Ang special access modifier, natay access modifier na katong to access public, static, public, private, protected. Natay special access modifier, dora na sa kapilian is either static or final. When ka static, meaning pwede pa siya ma-change. This access, this one can be changed. All the codes inside of this one can be accessed. Can be changed, sorry po. Can be changed because static. Mayroon kang final, meaning all the codes in there is final. Since we are starting to learn the language, mag-usog-usog yun siya. So, you just better use static. Static lang na siya. Static. Public, static. So, always na public, static, mura na, public, static. Mura na imo always na i-remember. Kay bago pa man kang tone of programming. So, public, static. It's just also, wala na siya dire. Wala dire. Because this one is not an approach of object-oriented programming. It's just a functional programming. Dire kay OOP naman ta, always consider access modifier. Public, static. Okay. Public, kay kinahanglan, at least still, di man confidential atong program, still public, okay ra. Static, since the codes can be changed time to time. Since wala man tayo desired outcomes. Okay, those are just default. We have void. This is the data type. And this is now the name of the function. Not the same with the C++ that the default data type is integer. Ang dire is void. A void means empty, means wag siya. That is why, as you can see on your Java, there is no return. 'Di ba? Walay return. Anong walay return si Java sir? Si C++ na i-return. Return 0. Remember that return 0 it because integer ang yung data type. Right here, wala lagi siya return sir. It is because it is void. Walay value. So no need to return. Pero kung maingon ka diya na int main, then you have to return something because there is now a data type, integer. You have to return something, an integer value. Like on the C++. So question nganong walay return 0 diri because wala man ang data type nato is void. No value. Void. So realistic case is Java, it is because not all the program na ay return. So manang gi-void niya ang main function. It's a special function but a void data type. Wala siya kinahanglan i-return because void. Everything of the main function is what we call the arguments. It is just pick at the default here. Default lang yun na siya. Default na ayra na siya usba. Swira string bracket args. It's just the same. Mora gina siya. So basically, natay name, natay data type, natay name. Kung saan nadugang sa Java, ang public access modifier, ang public o ang static. Mara nadugang. Rest, left brace, and right brace the same. This is the boundary where everything's for the main function. Same lang Java na siya. Left brace o right brace. Sa Java lagi sir kay dire gibutang ang left brace. Di yung ang sa dire sa C++ dire. Pwede rin na sir. Yes, pwede rin na. O sa kung sa yung style, importante na ay left brace o na ay right brace. Maora na siya. Pwede gini mong right brace, ibutang ni mo dire sunod after sa semicolon, it's also the same. Wa gina siya problema. Okay? Now, si Java nanatay automatic na library. Tungod sa iyang pagkatindot na sa system, no need to import something library. Automatically na siya iya mga basic simple like ganahan ka mo print something, it's equivalent this code, it is equivalent to cout. Cout hello world. This output hello world Japan. But lain lang siya ang iyang term. System out that print line. Okay. No need to import but just directly call the function. Okay. This is how we know Java. This one here, print line is what we call the function. Function siya. Basta nagay siya left left parenthesis open parenthesis and right parenthesis, we call it function like main function main. 'Di ba? Function. Ang class wala man siya inana. So class gina siya. Pero kani basta gay na left brace, open parenthesis and right parenthesis, we called it the function. Ang function, remember, ang function sulod sa class. Ang class na main sulod siya sa learn the syntax. So kani si print line, under siya na class sa class na out. Sa out na siya na class. Dayon, kaning out na class, inside siya sa folder na system. So, gitarget nimo siya, ato ko sa system folder, ako ang targeton si out class, na maato siya sa print function, parang iyang i-output ang hello world. Mura na siya. Method, okay, function, class, folder. 'Di ba? Folder, directory, class, and then function. Mura na siya sulod nimo. Then semi-quotation. Ganaon sa imong i-output, just put quotation. This is considered as a string. If there are two quotation, that is considered as a string. So you are outputting a data in a form of string, meaning hello world. Any question for the Java? Oh, sige raman mog nandi ako kabantay na question. Ayaw ra mo kaulaw. Wala ayaw ra mo ka ato ba ni kahadlok di bitaw ko mangaon. So wala questions. That means nakasabot mo tanan. Yes. Yes, very good. Ah, okay, very good. As I as I mentioned ganiha, wala siya return zero because ang yang data type kaning void. Mano yang data type void? Ah, unsa to? Pardon? Hello? Pardon? Okay. Ako na lang ah. To because this is void. Ang data type niya is void. Ang data type na void is no value, no return value. Empty man siya. No, wala gid siya value. So that is why we don't have the return. Manang dili ta mag-return dire kay wala man siya possible kay nag-state naman kana ay void man ni siya, 'di ba? Wala siya value. So no need to expect return. Pero kung mingon ka diring int main, kay expect ang compiler to return something. Kay string naman or int naman siya data na accept na mo return. That is why sa Java wala siya return because ang yang default void man. Mara na explanation. Nakuha ra. Okay, thank you. Any questions? I am open with the questions. Okay, mag-exam ba? Oh, okay. Recognize kinsa man ron. Okay. Naatay separate kuan discussion about the input, no? Kay sa inyo ha, C in man to inyo C in sa Java. Sa C++ di yung sa kuan sa Java natay kuan scanner. That is the time mo gamit na tao. Scanner naman na ang gamit. That is the time na mo gamit na tag library for scanner to use the scanner. Yung muna na to ang gamiton. So ato na is ato lang tawon na ron. I have 20 minutes left na lang for the next discussion. Ato nang gamiton sa to ang variable declaration, variable topic. So any question for this topic, murag na dugay-dugay ko to describe it much more easier for you guys para masabtan ginin yung simple syntax of Java and C++. Any question? Nasabtan ra. Okay, thank you. So any questions? Wala na. We will now proceed to the last topic, ang ato ang variables. Okay? One question? Pwede na tayo proceed? Ah, okay. So we will now